So ladies and gentlemen, so we are talking about multiplying and simplifying radicals with non-negative real numbers, okay? So in this case here, we have 2 cube root of x times cube root of 4x squared minus third root of 14x. So you should understand that third root and cube root are just the same thing, okay? So now when we're multiplying, so that means we are going to do distributive principle, okay? So the distributive principle or property, that says what? So you take the 2 outside, multiply by the 1 outside, because there's an invisible 1 there, okay? So that'll give us 2, all right? And then when it comes to the cube root now, whatever we have under the radical, so we're multiplying x by 4x squared, okay? So for now, I'm putting it this way also, so we can go a little, slower and understanding what's happening. And then the same 2 cube root of x will be multiplied by negative cube root of 14x. So that'll give us minus, because 2 times negative 1 will give us negative 2. And then cube root of, then that is x times 14x. All right? And then once we come down here, this is a 2 cube root of what? X times 4x squared will give us what? 4x to the third with the cube here. Minus 2 cube root of what? 14. X times x is x squared. All right? So the next thing to do is to be able to break down whatever we have under the radical if possible, okay? Because it's not always possible. So 4 is 4 a perfect cube, or can we break it down into 2 numbers, where the product of 2 numbers where 1 is a perfect square, the other one is not? No. So 4 will stay 4. What about x to the third power? X to the third power is a perfect cube because 3 can divide 3 evenly. And that's it. And then that is x, right? So that is 2. Then the x comes out. And then we had cube root of 4, because 4 couldn't have been broken down. So we keep it underneath, all right? Then minus, so what's happening here is that this one is 2. Can we break down 14 into 2 numbers? Where 1 is a perfect cube, the other one is not. So 14 can only be what, 2 times 7 or 1 times 14? So with those factors, there is no perfect cube in there, right? So we end up with cube root of 14x squared, because x squared also cannot be broken down, because remember we said when the index is higher than the power, there's nothing you can do about it, okay? Just keep it like that. So then anything else that we can add, subtract, multiply, or anything else? No, because square, cube root of 4 stays like that, 14 x squared stays like that. There's nothing we can do outside either. So this will be our final answer for this problem here. All right? So we're good. All right? So there is no equal. All right? So let's go at the next question now and see what's happening. And before that, I just want to remind you guys, first of all, to thank you for your support, but also to keep on liking, commenting, sharing, and also subscribing on our YouTube channel, okay? Thank you. So let's go at this one here, and then we have now 2 terms here and 2 terms there, so we're going to use the FOIL method, the first, the outer, the inner, and then the last. Or again, we call it distributive principle or property. So the first one is this one here. So we take the outside times the outside, so that means 1 times 1, which is 1, and 4 times 2 is going to give us 8. So it's cube root of 8, all right? So we're going to go a little faster with the numbers now, okay? So 4 times 2 is 8. And then the same one here, now we're multiplying with this one. So what would that give us? So we're doing cube root of 4, okay? So that's 4 times 36. And that would give us what? 4 times 36 would give us 144, okay? 4 times 6, 24, and 4 times 3, 12, so that's 144, all right? And then we take this one now, that's the inner, so it's 6 times 2, but there's a negative here already, so negative times a positive is going to give us negative, so it's going to give us negative cube root of what? 12. All right. And then last but not least, negative times positive also is going to give us a negative. And then 6 times 36 is going to give us what? It's going to give us 216 because 6 by 6 is 36. 6 by 3 is 18 plus 3 is 216. All right? So that's what we have for that. And then we go ahead and then we break down whatever we can break down also in this case. So cube root of 8, how can we break it down? So that is just a 2 because 8 is a perfect cube because it's 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. So it's a perfect cube. How about 144? How can we, is 144 a perfect cube or can we break it down? 144 is not a perfect cube, but how can we break it down? So we can break that down into 8 times 18. Okay, so this is something that you guys have to sit down and then, work out. So that's just, being able to do regular divisions. Okay, so 144 can also be 12 times 12. Okay, and then from there you can also work it out because 12 times 12, but they are not perfect cubes. You're looking for perfect cubes. And perfect cube is 8. Okay, so that's 8, which is a perfect cube. And that's why 27 is a perfect cube. All right, 64 is a perfect cube. So those are perfect cubes. That means the numbers that you can multiply. So it's like when you have 1 to the third is 1, correct? And then 2 to the third is 8 because 2 times 2 times 2. And then 3 to the third, 3 by 3, 9 by 3 is 27. And then 4, for example, is going to give us 64. Okay? So these are what we call the perfect cube. So very quickly, let's go back over here. So that means what? So we can break down 144 into 8 times 18 because if you divide 144 by 8, you get 18. And 18, you cannot break it down into a perfect cube and another number. So you just have to continue. Minus, what about cube root of 12? 12 is not a perfect cube and you cannot break it down into a perfect cube. Meaning 12, you cannot divide 12 by any of this number, that will come out evenly. That's why. Okay? So you keep it as 12, then minus cube root of 216. So cube root of 216, so is 216 a perfect cube or not? 216 actually is a perfect cube of 6, okay? Of 6. So because 5 cubed is 125, okay? So here, this one minus this one is just 6 because 6 times 6 times 6 is going to give you 216, all right? So far we have 2 here, or we can combine those 2 together if you want to already. All right, we could do that. So these 2, put them together. So 2 minus 4 is negative 4. All right. And then once we get to this one here, what's the perfect cube of 8 is 2. So 2 comes out. And then cube root of 18. And then minus cube root of 12, right? Okay. Very interesting problem, right? A bit challenging, with your multiplication tables and things like that, some calculations, being fast. Okay, here we are going very slow, all right, so that you guys can understand what's happening. But otherwise, when you're on a test, for example, you have to go a bit quicker. Depends also on the time that is given to you, all right? But in any case, can we combine these 2 together? No. This is 18, this is 12. Like we said before, you cannot break down the 18, okay, into, we're talking about perfect cubes, not squares. If it were to be a square root, then it's a different ball game. All right. So this one we cannot go further than that, and this will be your final answer, as of for this problem also, and for this one and for that one. So you're good to go. All right.